Hi there. Just very quickly on justice, I wanted to kind of bring up the concept of an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth. And so you can ask a lot of different people in America, different backgrounds. You can ask a lot of different evangelical um, factions, and ask them what they think justice is, and ask them what they think justice means. Um, right? So more often than not, what we think something should be isn't always what we tend to act on it as. The results are never what we expect. Um, so there's a difference between the justice we demand or expect and the justice that we actually receive, um, which is often less than expected. um, but I do want to bring up the issue of justice and an eye for an eye because I believe it started out with the concept again, um, the concept that true justice meaning fair justice, is that if you lose your tooth because somebody knocked it out, then you should only um, be paid back the amount of that tooth, not two teeth or three teeth or a full mouth. um, and whatever um, inconveniences occur from that. I think civilizations 3,000 years ago were keen to the idea that if I kill your oxen, and your oxen is what you need to till your ground, your farmland, and I give you an oxen, but it's a week after the fact, then I should also compensate you for the week that you didn't have the oxen in the first place. That to me seems like fair justice. Um, but also, justice can be fleeting. Justice can be vengeful and evil and rooted in hate. So, to me, justice is a word that a person uses, an individual uses to provide a sense of satisfaction, a sense of I don't want to say the term justice, but like a sense of meaning, good meaning, moral meaning, an ethical meaning in what they do. And you can take that to, let's say you have a father whose daughter is raped and killed by um, some crazy guy, and he wants to go and make justice for his daughter. So he goes and he murders the crazy guy, right? Is that justice? Well, that's actually kind of unfair because you're not supposed to kill another person, um, even though maybe murder has been committed against you, or you know, uh, in some way you have been offended with murder in the past. Um, so it doesn't make sense in that way, an eye for an eye, because in that case, then it would just mean that everybody um, gets their just desserts for everything they've done. And in that way, because nobody's perfect, humanity isn't perfect, everybody would suffer, um, and that would perpetuate, distrust and hate in society. So, it makes sense that, hey, if I kill one of your oxen, I should pay enough for you to get another oxen, right? But it doesn't mean you go and kill my oxen. Yeah, all right. So revenge is not very useful in society, even though it can be construed as an aspect of justice. So when we look at what kind of justice do we demand for um, the injustices of the past, we have to kind of think for ourselves for a moment and say, is this justice that I want for myself personally, or is it justice that I want for somebody like my child, my grandchildren? Do I want my grandchildren to grow up in an America where they don't have to fear, um, blatant racism on the streets by practically half of the country on a daily basis? Um, and if a person, even a black person who's been, you know, offended and accused and and thrown aside and cast aside by racism today, if they think that they should get their just desserts against the government and the rest of the racists and all that, that does not do any service for their children or their grandchildren. It's simply revenge. So justice needs to be taken very seriously. People need to consider the fact that what they deem justice to be could likely just be revenge in a vengeful manner that is rooted in hate. And if they're in any way Christian, they're going to fucking hell for acting on that, right? If you go to a place and burn it down because you think it's gonna make you feel better, um, like you stuck it to the man in some way, fuck you. You're a selfish brat. You're desperate to have a voice, yet you have nothing to say, and you bring nothing to the table in the end. In fact, you take away from it. So those kinds of people, fuck them. People who think that burning down a strip mall or burning down a Walmart or Kmart or a Wendy's means anything to them. Fuck those people. They do not understand what justice means because they don't understand the concept of an eye for an eye. And it doesn't mean, again, that if you poke my eye out, I get to poke your eye out. It means that I get to have in return the damages that are as valuable as that eye and the inconveniences that come about because of it. It's not he shoved me first, so I get to shove you back. I hope that, in the future, these kinds of discussions come up. Because if Americans don't choose to discuss what they think, something like truth or justice or or patriotism or liberty actually is, that they don't understand what the concept means to them, and then they don't understand that by asking other people, they find out everyone else has a different fucking concept of that. There's no unity behind it, and that way you get a stagnated society who is scattered in ideologically scattered and is too dickless to ever sacrifice being wrong about something, or at least admitting that someone else has a good point on it, and taking that in and building that up until the pedestal is high enough to where people can have a voice. Um, I appreciate you guys listening. I'm sorry I went off on a rant, but hell, if we don't ask other people what do they mean by I want justice, what is justice, then we won't actually truly know their intent. And if most of these people are just blindly regurgitating these empty platitudes because they've seen other people do it or they feel pressured to do it themselves in order to fit in, then you get a bunch of fucking idiots who have no clue what they're saying, no clue why they're doing the things that they do, and in the end are confused because they don't get the results that they wanted. Thank you guys. Have a good day.